Hello, everyone. Welcome to Progressive Paganism. I'm Mike Venezia. I am a pagan priest and philosopher of the earth-based path and sciences. So I tweeted out, oh goodness, last week. I've been trying to get tweets in every day, but I missed today. So let me go ahead and pull it up here. And it's really what I wanted to go over this evening. So let's see here. Let me pull up my Twitter. It's crazy. By the way, you can follow me on Twitter. And I'm still getting used to the new handle and everything. So it is at Science Pagan. So let's see here. Pulling up my profile. I had posted 6 days ago. So, okay. It was last Thursday. Holograms, as above, so below, or shadows of a parallel universe. Both discuss. Had a like on it, but no discussion. I'd love to hear what you guys think about these things. And the reason I had brought that up was because I've been listening to and reading a good bit of Neil deGrasse Tyson, and I love his views and the way he explains astrophysics, primarily being as an educator first. So I kind of wanted to go over something I used to actually teach, which was holograms. And so I want to give a quick example. You notice the quality is a little bit distant on my face, and that is because, boom, there we go. Now you can see my hands and everything. I wanted to go over a little bit of what holograms are. So, scientifically, and of course, I don't have the citations of names or anything, but, we had figured out that, we weren't the center of the solar system or the center of the universe, so we knew that our sun was. And you get my little tiny sun here. And we had discovered, the other planets, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, so on and so forth, were all orbiting around the sun in very obvious orbits. And so we'd come to find out that, that seems like that's kind of a normal thing, because we'd look down again at, let's say, an atom, and we'd realize the nucleus of the atom here, and let's just use helium. Why not? Because helium, I believe, it's helium, has 2 electrons on the same outer shell there. So they are rotating. Of course, this is 2 dimensions and not 3 dimensions. So it really doesn't do it justice. When you see an atom, it's more like, this. Obviously, that's a horrible drawing. And I wish I could show a little better of what I'm actually drawing there. So, a 2D version, 3D version, solar system in 2D. So we saw how far we could go up. Down, up, and then we saw the galaxies and how the Milky Way, we only saw this little strip of the Milky Way across the sky. With other telescopes, so we're finally seeing galaxies that are spread out over great distances. They have arms to them. And again, all of the solar systems are inside here, circling around one central point, which we later found out was a big supermassive black hole. Obviously. So, I don't know how much closer I can get with this one. But so, we're seeing parallels here. And all the way down. Honestly, all the way down. So, to our solar system, to even little things like dust and debris seems to be rotating around something, or it's moving around something. So everything seemed to have this same rotational force all the way down to the atom. However, it kind of stops here. Once we get into the nucleus and the protons and neutrons and nothing really orbits anymore. But it brought about, well, it didn't bring about, the principle is always there of as above, so below, or the hologram potential. So let's go even further. So galaxies here. Oh, let's go to this one. I missed a page. But let's say the universe it was created at this point, this infinitesimal point right before the Big Bang. So this singularity right there. Okay? And it's always asked, what is the center of the universe? And there is no center. I mean, I guess you could be the center. But you and everyone else are the center of the universe. So, that being said, I like to imagine the universe as a balloon. All crumpled up, so over here on the side, you've got your crumpled up little balloon here. It's all janky, and it's got the little part you blow into right there. Alright? And you put a dot here, and you put a dot here, 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 while it's still all crumpled up and there's no air in it. And then you squeeze it down to this infinitesimal point. Every dot is in the center. But then as the universe expands like this balloon. So, halfway blown up balloon. Now you see dots here, 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 and here, and here. Excellent. You blow up that balloon some more. Right? And you see the same dots. But they're here. They're here. They're here. They're way over here. They're here, here, and they're more spread out. So just like the universe is expanding, so is like the balloon. And once you blow it up some more, we'll just keep on going with this big balloon idea. All right. So same 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 dots. All right. That dot is not there. So now you can't even see the dot over here. This dot has now stayed kind of there because that's the point of view you have. Let's say that dot is us. This dot here is us. This dot here is us. So these dots aren't really moving, but everything else is moving around it. So at this point, you might have one more. So now we've gone from the, what did I say, 8 dots? Yes, 8 dots originally to the same, this one's too far off, so now we got 7, and now we're left with these 4. It seems like they're moving away from each other, and they are, but they all start from this one little point. So even the smallest things can be measured up to the largest things. And this is my best interpretation visually of the universe. And I'd like to go into more of like the fourth dimension kind of stuff too, because within this is the fourth dimension. This is my, again, perspective on it. So we have this sphere, this balloon. I can measure it, let's say from Earth, I can measure it this way. I can measure it this way from Earth, this way, this way, this way, and this way. Those are our 3 dimensions, basically. Our length, width, and height from here to here. Well, that's great that if you take that balloon or that round object, such as this flask here, which has some sediment in it, so I can measure down here, I can measure here, I can measure all the way around it. I can even measure what's, the volume of it. And let's say, for example, this, because it has a volume, the volume is the space inside. The space in the universe is space-time. It's measured in the same aspect. So that would be your 4th dimension. I am the dot here on the surface. I can walk this way, I can walk that way, I can leave the dot. But I can't be inside. I can never get through this. That's the 4th dimension. That's the time. So, if here is Earth and the Milky Way, and here, on this side, is, I don't know, Proxima Centauri, which is still in the Milky Way, but let's say Andromeda is over here. Some 10,000 light years away and closing in, for some reason. I don't know all the science behind that, but it is because of the way it's shaped and moving. It's clothing. Anyway, I digress. I'm here, Andromeda's here. I have to move across the surface of this. I can't go through it to get there. Going through it would be that fourth dimension. So, why am I telling you all this? Okay, so because, again, as above, the universe itself, so below, I can find an allegory or a hologram, or, the balloon, to the universe itself. This principle can be taken many different ways. And let's talk about it in the mind. So, most of Earth-based faith and paganism, as I've mentioned in previous episodes here, is visual. Very visual. We actually... whoops, that's the wrong one. We actually have to visualize what we're doing. So let's see here. It's weird that one is a different number. Okay. Still getting used to the system. So what we do is we visualize healing. We visualize the circle that we're casting. We visualize the elements entering that circle. The physicality of it isn't in front of our eyes. It's something we perceive with our sight. During rituals, some people hear things, smell things, even taste things. But the thing is, we're not perceiving it visually. So we have to take in something else other than our vision and our mind. So what we perceive in our mind can be raised, lowered, and moved to different points of view, which could be those, let's say, those dimensions. Higher planes of existence have been not disproven, but hypothesized, be it with meditation, prayer, ritual, even. Dream states. Let's continue in the notebook here. Alright, so there's my galaxy. Alright. So, dimensions can be explained in many different ways. I like the dimension of consciousness the most. So, let's say that... Let's see if I can do this sideways. We'll see if we can do this sideways. Yeah, that would be cool. We have our person here. And they're just, they're just laying on their bed. Let's say, they're meditating, they're doing whatever it is. So that's a really big bed. I mean, that's a long bed, but more like a table. Massage table. Screw it. So at the plane of existence that is within the person, we have consciousness. We perceive, feel, touch, have sensations within this conscious barrier here. Now, I wish I was more prepared and had like colored pencils or something, but unfortunately I don't. So we'll call this layer the conscious dimension. My handwriting is not the best sideways. So, alright, so this is the conscious dimension. From there, as you relax or as you meditate, your mind reaches out. Not your body, your mind is reaching out. But people have experienced the ability to almost see the room around them. So then what we can do is we expand our consciousness here in a more natural way. We're more aware of our breathing. We're more aware of the other people in the room, if there are any other people. We're more aware of sounds, the creaking of the old house settling, your heartbeat, your breathing, maybe even that little mouse skittering across the floor. So at this point, we are in a superconscious dimension. We can still come back. That's why they call it falling back or coming down in some cases. So we can always come back, and this is where it gets kind of hard with meditations, because we teeter within these two realms. You have an itch on your nose, it brings you back down. You have, then you start coming back, climbing back up, and climbing back up. And this is the barrier of it. We want to get past this barrier in meditation. So we're constantly trying to go from just what we have sensation-wise and slowly reach around. And this is actually a good practice for protection spells too, is imagining or feeling a sphere of purple or yellow light around you, or some kind of aura emanating. And the longer you focus that, the more the bigger it can get. But if you lose focus, it starts over. You kind of have to, because now you're not focusing on that sphere. Anyway, so you get to this barrier, and this is one of the hardest barriers to break. As a matter of fact, in science right now, we're having a hard time traveling past this barrier, Mars. So and a lot of people are saying once we get to let's say the Kuiper Belt. I think it's the Kuiper Belt, which is the asteroid belt that separates Mars from Jupiter, that orbit. Basically, everything Jupiter kicked into the way or kept out from its gravity. So we find that if we could get past this or through here, we could possibly send signals that will reach farther, or we could hear things better, or maybe as we send, because we send out probes and telescopes and everything past us all the time. What's to say another species couldn't do the same with us? But once they enter our atmosphere, they get stuck in this just gravitational pull between Jupiter and Mars. So there's a theory that if we get past here, we'll be able to either find something from an alien race here that we haven't seen before, or communicate better. We're outside of that range. But back to here. So same kind of thing. I think I'm going to as above, so below thing. This is the step above the physical. So instead of the globe and explaining this as the universe, this becomes the universe. So we have our conscious, superconscious, and then it actually goes deeper. So again, we do have our subconscious, and this is kind of the last step here, below rather. This is where, so let's see if I can do this again sideways. The subsea dimension. All right. So this is where we dream. This is where our thoughts come in, because again, we're filtering up. This is where daydreams happen. That's why it's so easy to drop back down, but harder to go up. All right. So we want to get past this superconscious. All right. From here, and it's not a very big one. It's not a very big one at all. This, let's see if I can do an E. Oh my goodness, there we go. This is our meditative dimension. This is the dimension where people may see, feel, or hear things that may give them motivation, or may help them along a path, answer questions. This is where we relax. Because now, everything that was in the room or around us is gone. We've surpassed that. We've gone to a place where now our breathing is regulated. We don't have to focus on our breathing anymore. We've gone to a place where now our heartbeat is regulated and we don't hear it anymore. We're aware of it but don't hear it. Just as you're still aware of our body. Even in our subconscious. We're still aware of our body, but we don't... It's just doing its thing. In this meditative state, this is where people say we have risen above our consciousness. That we have risen above perception. This is where we communicate. Now, above this, but only ever so slightly, which is why a lot of people have problems with this one, is what we, in the business, I guess you could say, would call the astral dimension or astral plane. This is where now we can perceive the answers, perceive everything that happened, as well as everything else. So why, when people are in the astral plane, they feel like they're floating above their body, they can see it. And this can be measured energetically by the body. So when you're falling asleep, you feel heavy. When you are starting to meditate and starting to get to a place of just relaxation, you feel lighter. When you finally get into that meditative state, your body, you don't even feel it anymore. You're above that. The astral projection is a literal floating and sight of the body and the world around you. And you don't worry. This is where you can meet with your answers. Now, I hope this is actually, you can actually see this. It's a little hard. Let me go ahead and do this. It's a little hard to actually see from the angle. I'll get a better rig at some point. I had it, I think I'm going to set up the cameras on my face to do this at a closer angle. But again, you can see where these dimensions lie. Okay? So, we, as humans, are third-dimensional creatures. We have 3 dimensions. Now let's take all of the dimensions we still are perceiving our 3 dimensions. So, the superconscious, we're still in our 3rd dimension. We still perceive our body, still feel our heartbeat and our breathing. We are just in tune with the world around us at that point and reaching a state of relaxation. This level here is where it becomes therapeutic. Now, once you reach the meditative state, this is where the real therapy begins. This is where you can still easily come down, but you're in a zone where you're letting your body repair itself. You're getting the answers and everything you need right here. So, once you cross this barrier, the astral dimension, there is one more. And I've got to remember, this one is a big one. This is a big one to cross. Now, I've got to remember exactly what I had called this in my classes. Because it was something that we actually had arrived on in discussion. So, subconscious, we are conscious, superconscious, meditative, our astral dimension, and I believe, actually, wow, okay, I remember it now. We had called this, my goodness gracious, how could I not? Our cosmic dimension. I don't know a single person in history who has reached this point. So, and this is where things get a little strange, in between these two, within this dimension. So, think of it this way. From here to here are the dimensions, from here to here are the dimensions. So you're looking at the space between. I would consider, there we go, this is a bit more thoughtful. Alright. I would consider this diagram to be one that I would say would be a good indication of the same kind of dimensions, or dare I say even orbits. So within here, the body to this line here is our conscious dimension, and we're still within that conscious dimension all the way through here. We have lots of play in the conscious dimension, which is why it can be tough to get into that subconscious, which is why it can be tough to relax during a meditation or a ritual. Subconscious is below here. You have a bit of a wider berth because, let's be real, those dreams can go back and forth pretty quickly. Or it can go back, not quickly, I should say, slowly. Sometimes you might get jolted back in and forget that you were even dreaming. And that is what happens with hallucinations and even sometimes sleep paralysis, and that's a whole other thing. So within this whole realm here is your conscious dimension. Cross into the subconscious. This whole thing here, including this, is your subconscious. You're still aware. Your meditative is a smaller chunk, but includes everything. Your healing, your therapeutic. And then your astral. This is where things get huge. And this is not to scale. This would incorporate, this whole area here would incorporate more than the Earth, if you wanted it to. People have described astral projecting to go into the stratosphere, or to be able to travel to other sides of the planet, almost instantaneously. But, within all that, we are still in that third dimension. Period. We cannot escape that third dimension. We are always, always measuring this way. And trust me, the glass here is, let's just say it's the depth of the Earth, because it kind of is. But anyway, in perspective. But we'll never break through. Because once we break through, we're back on the other side of the Earth. So it's moot. But anyway, this is the universe. Okay? So we're still on that left, right, up, down plane. Never breaking through. Our goal is to be, and we can go with that aspect from here to here to here to here, but it's not instant. It takes a lot of work to get there. This cosmic dimension is the fourth dimension. Let's see if I can do this. Boom! There's a 4. So this, and we don't know what's past this. We just don't know. This is the realm where a lot of Earth-based faiths believe we communicate. Believe this is where we'll be able to control. In the conscious dimension, we can control everything around us and within us. We have the ability to control our thoughts and have self-control. Control our desires, our wants and needs. Everything that subconsciously would be there. With us in the subconscious, we have the ability to control the conscious. In this state, some people can actually stop their hearts from beating. They can create things and make their body do things that otherwise they wouldn't do. This is the state in which people have said they could, stop their heart, or whatever the case may be, stop breathing. The meditative, I think right now we're only using as a medicinal, a therapeutic. Because at this point we can control all the things that stop, start, and help us live, the living itself, and the will below it. And then once we get to the astral, this is where we can control more. We can move more. This we've been to. This is where the elements live. This is where the earth and everything comes. This is my definition. If I can spell, because I missed a letter. This is my definition of Akasha. It is the oneness of everything emanating from the controller. Getting to that cosmic dimension is where we can reach other dimensions. We can reach our shadow. Where we can become more. We can do more. And as a pagan, we're sitting here controlling the smaller things. Just like on Earth, I can control the movement of this pin with my fingers, just like this, tactile and everything. If I can, oh, I have two pins here. Weird. If I reach the cosmic dimension, I'm no longer tactile. This is where the elements that bind everything and that control us reside. This is the dark energy, the dark matter. This is the unseen of the human perception. This is where we still don't know. Now, what we do when we learn and find out things like black holes, actually it was a couple of years back, or was it last year? Might have been last year, when we finally saw gravitational waves. We know the basis of gravity. We don't know exactly what gravity is, but we can measure it. We know based on equations and based on previous experience, it fits in a logical theory. But the answers to the theories are here. We draw our knowledge from here. As I mentioned, it is easier to drop down than to go up. The knowledge can trickle down. But our reach, and as pagans, is to keep reaching, to keep finding a way to break through those dimensions. Same thing as scientists are doing now. How do we do it? How can we go faster than light? Well, we can't, because we are tactile. We are mass and matter. All of the antimatter, all the dark matter, dark energy lives here. Everything that is energetic lives here. This is what we draw from. Right here. Reaching this dimension, we can travel through time. We can control things. And again, traveling through time, and I'm going on a tangent here, but traveling through time will affect as above, so below. So, take a quick break in this segment, which I'm trying to break into 2 segments now, but sometimes I go a little over. I want to come back to this, but I want to then relate it to the universe itself and its boundaries and how we can overcome them, and delve into the theories of it without actually citing the theories, because I'm not an astrophysicist. I am not a cosmologist. I know of these things. I can teach to these things. But I'm not one to cite names and dates. I hated that in my psychology classes and theology and all that. Names and dates, names and dates. We're in a new age, a new era, where those names and dates matter, but what matters more is how we can accomplish more. So, hope you guys will join me after the break. I'll be right back for the next half hour, or, well, a little bit less, of progressive paganism. See you in just a little bit. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Catch me every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube Live, and listen after at soundcloud.com/progressive_paganism. Also, keep up with me on Twitter by following @SciencePagan. Thanks again, be back in a bit. Hello everyone, welcome back to Progressive Paganism. I am Mike Venezia. I am a Earth-based pagan priest and philosopher, and I am continuing my talk about holograms, as above, so below. And earlier I went over my balloon thought exercise here. Now I want to see if I can do this on... let's see if I can add a source here and see if I can't find I have a monitor capture here. Hey, look at that. Okay. So, let me see if I can't size this up for you guys here. There we go. Beautiful thing about streaming. Gotta love it. There we are. So let's put some things into perspective here, and let's see. Let's take that and boom! All right, here we are. So let me. Perfect. All right. So going by this example here, I found this is twistedsifter.com. I actually just did an image search, so I want to kind of get a diagram for you. So, also, let's see if it relates here. Let's go back through all the notes, which are... There we are. So, here we go. Actually, that would be perfect. My phone becomes a nice little kickstand here. Okay. So, going through the notes, going through this here. Okay, so here we are. Let's say we are the Earth. And, Akasha. We are an Earth-based faith. So we are the Earth. We are the god, goddess, and everything of this planet. We are the spirit of the planet. Us and along with every other living creature. So let's keep that in our conscious dimension right now. We are conscious of our solar system. So we're still sitting in our conscious dimension right now. From our lowly little planet, we can see the sun. We can see Mercury, Venus. We can see Jupiter and even see Saturn on a nice clear night with a telescope. So, and again, apparently it's just called the asteroid belt on this one, but this is our conscious home, right here. Matter of fact, we can even see these particular stars here in our solar interstellar neighborhood, including Sirius, And let's see if we can find another one here. Altair. Altair's a beautiful one. It's actually my wife's favorite star. One of my wife's favorite stars, yeah. And let's see if we can find another one here. Well, we'll go with those two. Those are good ones. And let's see. Let's keep going. This is still we can still see this. This is great. We can still see this consciously. Unaided. The Milky Way. I would even consider that still in our conscious dimension here. Because on a nice clear night, here we are. We can see the arms of the rest of the galaxy floating above our heads. Maybe even parts of the inner Milky Way galaxy. Now we're getting somewhere here. The local galactic group. I love astrology. It's so awesome. So, and maybe I can do a segment at a later time on actual astrology. Well, the study of astrology and the... Oh, I'm lacking the terms. The horoscopes and the constellations and all that cosmology stuff, because it pertains as well to what it really is. So, here we are again. And let's see if we can find one here that is... Well, kind of not. But we can, obviously, these are in our era. Oh, Ursa Major 2. There we go. Ursa Minor Dwarf, Draco Dwarf, Sexton's Dwarf. Ah, here we go. The Booty's Dwarf. Interesting how we have the Booty's Dwarf here, and there's also... We'll get to that part. Okay. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's see. The Small and Large Magellanic Cloud, which are weird, is weird because those are like kind of like galaxies. Yeah, they're galaxies. They're just farther away. Magellan just thought they were clouds. Anyway, Andromeda Galaxy. Hooray! There we are. Local galactic group. So we find some galaxies. Triangulum Galaxy. So yeah, we're all within. That's still. We're starting to get up here. We're starting to get to our subconscious here. Now within this, I think we've crossed into the subconscious. Because our local galactic group, these guys here, are now this little dot. And from here, Canis groups, Virgo cluster, because we're in the Virgo supercluster. Ursa Major groups, which is where we find Ursa Major, Ursa Minor, Leo 2, Virgo 3. I love space and the stars. I love affair with it. This is our superconscious. This is where we would be, and again, this is an allegory, a hologram, as above, so below. It's a comparison to where we're at here. So don't take it literally. We know of it. We can feel that superconscious. Everything around us. We have reached that point where we are aware. This is our room. This is our awareness of the room. This local galactic group is us, and our heartbeat, and the itchiness over here. This Phoenix Dwarf is the itchiness in our neck that we're trying to ignore. But then we get past that, and we are just one thing. And here is the bed you lay on, your closet, the little mouse scurrying across the room. It's all here in our feelings. And then we get bigger, and we get higher, and we're in the Virgo supercluster only here, and then we've got all these other superclusters everywhere, and the Booty's Void. That's what I was talking about. How do we have a, go back up, the Booty's Dwarf, which is local part of the local galactic group. Probably just name that after it. But anyway, so we have this void here. Now we're in this getting past that superconscious. We're almost to that meditative, and then we see something, but it's weird because nowhere else we've got all this light, but the answers are so far away. They're in these voids: the Sculptor Void, the Copernicus Void, the Booty's Void, Formax Void. What are they? Where are they? And then we finally get to the observable universe. This is what we know. This is our astral projection. From here, we can go anywhere that we know of. Anywhere we can perceive. This is it. this is my way of showing how even our consciousness has as above, so below. Even the atoms and molecules in our bodies mirror our consciousness, mirror our universe. So controlling one portion on the smallest scale affects the biggest, and the biggest can affect the smallest. There's one more picture I want to show. This is an artist's rendition of the universe. It's obviously very, very much, I would say, exaggerated in some places. So the biggest part here, this is our solar system. And then we have all the galaxies here, just kind of as an observation. And then we have everything else that's out of reach that we know of. Then we have the cosmic microwave background radiation. But everything coming out of it. We know it's there. That's why it's redshifted. It's so far away. And then we have the edge of the universe. The edge of the universe is here. What's beyond that? The cosmic dimension. Which again brings me to my final point that I would love to share with you guys before we head off into the cosmos for the week. There we are. So hard to adjust things. I would like to show the multiverse theory a little bit. So we saw this picture here. This one right here. The zero universe, the big bubble, as one might call it. Who knows? Let's turn the page, shall we? This big bubble is our universe. That's that picture you just saw. Us in the middle on our solar system and all the galaxies, the cosmic microwave background radiation emanating everywhere that was once the Big Bang, which now if we were there in real time would be just empty space. But the reason it's visualized as a redshifted thing is because we're literally seeing the Big Bang in all directions. Because we are seeing the 18 billion years ago, or whatever the number is. Again, I am not an astrophysicist, or a cosmologist, but it's a long damn time. But if you think about it, if you're looking at Alpha Centauri, which is, I don't know, 1,000 light years away. I'm just throwing numbers out there. I don't know the exact distances. You're looking at the light that's coming to us from, let's say 1,000 light years away. That's 1,000 years of light. We're looking at that in the past, even though it still exists. And it would take us 1,000 years at light speed to get there. And by the time we got there, it would not be the same thing as we were seeing from back on Earth. Because it would be 2,000 years in the future of wherever or whatever's there. We're always looking into the past. Because everything's moving out at light speed that all we can see is light. So literally, that whole ring is the Big Bang. Is the chaos that was the expansion. We'll never see the darkness that actually is if we were sitting on the ring. Because we're looking back and seeing what the Big Bang was and became. And we would be seeing it backwards. We'd be seeing the future. We'd be seeing what it became from the edge of it. And from where we're sitting, it's what it was. Anyway, so that's why it looks like that. So, back to the drawing here. So, we have the Big Bang expanding everything out, obviously. And pushing against what? Nothing? Okay. Some people think of the universe as that globe, as that ball here, ever expanding, and we just can't break through that space-time to go from here to here instantly. We can't just right through. We'll pop that balloon, or whatever. So, this is how, it's always going to be this way. We'll never break out. But, if we could, would we end up on the other side? As if we were digging through or walking to the edge. Like, I heard a quote from Stephen Hawking that when you get to the South Pole, you can't go south anymore. You just can't. Once you get past that point, you're then going north. So are we going back to where we were at? Are we then looking at our behinds 100,000 years in the past? I don't know. But if we were to get past this, there's a theory that if we could travel, let's say we could break that time travel and we split off different dimensions, that who's to say there aren't other universes just nestled up against it? Or, like our universe, spread out. So even if we were to break through, we'd find nothing but empty space until the next dimension. And we're just floating around here, orbiting some big thing. Or maybe not. Maybe we are butted up against each other. Just like this. And that there's something else controlling those universes. Maybe something else there. Controlling that. All we can do all we can ever do is keep climbing our perceptions and our realities to try and find those answers and trickle them back down here. So keep an eye out for me on Twitter. And I'm going to actually read it because I wrote it down. I'm on Twitter at SciencePagan. And here on YouTube every week on Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And honestly, check out some of Neil deGrasse Tyson's stuff. If you want to learn more about the physics of our universe and how it pertains to us and how you can apply it in your own ways of finding out who you are and how to keep climbing up to be the master of the domain on your own Earth. Maybe we need to do that before we can get to other planets. But I do want to point out one chapter in this book, Astrophysics for People in a Hurry, that I really want to show you here before we go. What inspired me to speak on this. On page 34, the chapter starts. And it's simply titled, On Earth as in the Heavens, as above, so below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, I'm Mike Venezia. Catch me on Twitter and YouTube. I'll see you next week. Progressive Paganism. Namaste.